martial art.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I've ever heard that from anyone describing their music. Huh. Okay. Yeah, that's something I had to ponder on there.
Okay.
Right. So you have a lot of background listening to a lot of classical music, I assume. Yeah, jazz and song. But a lot of musicians will continue in those areas, those genres that they've learned in.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm curious to know what you would consider to be one of the reasons why you're interested in stepping outside of standard genres, the ones that you grew up with.
Right.
You know, what is that?
Well, you know what? What it is really, I think, is that they all told me to do that. All those genres told me to do my thing. What we call classical music, European concert music, institutional music now, was made by weirdos doing their own thing for the most part, and those are the ones that we remember. Those are the ones that were groundbreaking and changed the rules for the next ones that came along, who then changed the rules again, and so on. And we, in that particular genre of music that we're talking about, this tradition, this lineage from Renaissance through the beginning of the 20th century, or to Wagner, let's say, it was all of that was about breaking the rules that had come before, perfecting and breaking, perfecting and breaking, perfecting and breaking, and so. And also that most composers were performers throughout this tradition, and it was really just the last century, and there was a lot of improvisation too.
Yes.
And so it's just this last century that things changed, at least on the level of where
popular music,
money and so on, and so so these are the kinds of things that I learned from my music history lessons growing up. So it made sense to me that if I was going to play the music of these other people, that I ought to be writing my own. And I realized that that Beethoven improvised a lot, and that's where he got his ideas for his compositions. And so it made perfect sense to me. Also, I grew up listening to a lot of jazz, but I never felt like playing it because if I go back to jazz in the 50s and 60s and 70s, I feel like that was music that was made in a specific moment in time that was special in that moment in time. And to go back and recreate that didn't make sense to me.
Right.
But it did make sense to take those ideas and that energy and that spirit of innovation and revolution and integration, and go with it in my way, in my time, in my moment. So.
And make it your own.
Yeah, make it my own. So. Does that answer your question?
Yes, actually that does. That does very much. Yes. Yeah. So you'll be performing July 21st at the 9th Annual Outsound Music Summit.
Yeah.
And in San Francisco. And you'll be creating a soundtrack to Martha Coburn's films.
Mm-hmm.
And do you have any idea what that will be like for, say, someone who never heard you play
and doesn't know her films,
but wants to come because they find out that, hey, this is an interesting social event, or this is a festival I never heard of.
For sure. Interesting.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's something different. It's So I'm wondering, what do you know what you'll be doing?
Well, I know her films, and I know I'll be playing the piano.
Okay.
At least for some of it. Probably most or all of it.
Okay.
And her films are stop motion animation films that are. Yeah.
I know. I actually had a similar issue the other day.
Wow! About crazy, amazing, beautiful, and horrible, and everything, all of it, and nonstop. It's really there's an aggression there and playfulness, and her films they don't have there's no talking in them. There's no sound. They're all silent. But there is a sense of narrative to them. They're conceptual as well, and there's characters and figures that do things, and there's escapes that are not completely abstract, I think.
Right.
But all of her films can be enjoyed so much on a truly abstract level too.
Right.
So she's an incredible filmmaker and an incredible person, and she's become very successful in the world, this world, you know. Mm-hmm. And her films show on temporary and permanent exhibit in museums all over the world.
Mm-hmm. And you've been working with her for?
I've been working with her for a couple of 2-3 years now.
Yeah.
And so she's been using my music for her films, for 3 films that show when I'm not there with the soundtrack. She also works with lots of other really interesting musicians. And I've also performed with her in her films, SF MoMA recently, the New York Institute of Art and Design, New Museum in New York, Philadelphia Museum of Art, the Rotterdam International Film Festival. Mm-hmm. And we have more things coming up, including maybe New York MoMA. Okay. And so I perform these compositions of mine to her films that she's used specifically for her films of my music, but then I also do improvisation with other films and with other musicians and so on. So this will be the first time, actually, I think, that her films have been showed with one musician. And you know, I had the choice to bring other people in, and there's so many amazing musicians, I feel kind of selfish about it, but I really wanted to have the opportunity to explore her films by myself, and really like have the freedom to get senses of arcs throughout these films, and from beginning of one to the next, and they're all short, you know, like
right.
I mean, they're pretty short, average 4 minutes, 5 minutes, something like that, and get an arc of the full 45 minutes or hour, whatever it's going to be, you know. So I'm really excited about that. So, and my music, I guess I should talk about also a little bit.
Well, I'm assuming you'll be playing your music.
I'm going to be playing the piano.
The piano.
With my hands.
Right.
Most of the time.
And you'll be playing whatever comes to mind, inspired by the films that are being played.
Yeah, I won't give a lot of thought to it beforehand.
Right. So there's no pre-planning of, oh, there's that film, I'm going to play this song now.
Yeah, I mean, I might have some ideas. Of course, I've seen the films before, so I mean, there's going to be ideas from the past that come. But certainly I'm not setting out to orchestrate it or in any way. Or arrange in any way. But who knows? I mean, an idea might come along for me that makes sense to follow some kind of a scheme. But right now, I'm not concerned about that, and probably won't.
Okay, great. Well, we look forward to your performance and hearing your music and seeing what you're going to do with the films. And it's really good to have you on the summit this year. So
yeah, it's great for me. I love it.
All right. Well,
and I'm really looking forward to the whole 4 days.
It should be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Thank you, Ren, for continuing to organize and promote and encourage and bring people in from different communities, and to I mean, you're an incredibly supportive person in this community.
Thank you very much. And can't do it without you and everyone who makes this music happen. So thank you, and thanks for viewing, and we'll see you next time.